First order of business is to adopt the agenda. We have one addition to the agenda under new business, which is to talk about some emergency tree removals. So that would be item E. So do I have a motion to adopt the agenda with that addition to it?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, so we have the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the council meeting at 2:18, from the hearing and from the emergency meeting?
Yes.
Yep.
Make a motion, we adopt the minutes.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, so the minutes are all approved. Special events of banners. There was a letter we had requesting placement of puzzle ribbons in April. Is that for the autism?
Yeah, that's the one they do every year. They just, and I don't know whether it's doing it or not, but they put the puzzle ribbons in.
Right, but is it, it's for autism, right?
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. So I have a motion to allow the placement of the ribbons for April.
I don't, I mean, with the lockdown, I don't think.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Hey, anybody else? Opinions, discussion?
Well, I mean, I guess it would be how many people are putting the ribbons up if they're not all together. If it's one or two people not interacting with anybody else, they're just putting ribbons on in each pole, right? Continuing to the next one.
Right.
Except we
That's
have
what I
a
would
directive in Pike County to stay in our homes for anything that is absolutely not essential. That is the governor's directive. You know, that's not statewide, but we are one of the counties that it is. So I actually genuinely think that it would be violative of that directive from the governor's office.
I would agree with that.
Hey, Tony, what do you?
Well, the directive changed about 3 hours ago, so I would have to say that if this is it still goes down, it still depends on whether it's essential versus non-essential. And I don't know if this is essential or not.
I would.
Obviously, everyone wants to celebrate Autism Acceptance Month. But Sean, question to you. I did not see the governor's announcement 3 hours ago. Is it a lockdown for Pike County?
Well, Pike County was locked down several days ago. I think a few hours ago, the governor added some additional counties to the lockdown.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. My understanding is that you can still go outside, walk, and get exercise, and do your necessary traveling only. I guess the question is this necessary to be done? But that's a matter for, I think, the council to decide.
Going along with what Sean and Joe have said, that it does say it comes down the last weekend in April, and from what I understand, some of this is scheduled to last until the end of April. I think I have to, unfortunately, I don't mean it like that, unfortunately support Sean and Joe on this. It's unfortunate, but it's not essential, and it's during a period where we're not supposed to. It's pretty simple. It's incredibly hard, but it's pretty simple.
I think I don't have the governor's order right in front of me, but I think the language is pretty clear. If somebody reads that, but I don't think this would, I mean, if this would qualify, then we would have to, yeah, I just don't see how we could do this.
I don't see it qualifying either, Sean.
This came in quite a while ago. Like I said, I don't even know that they were still planning on it. I think I understand.
Does anyone in the council feel differently that we should let them go ahead? if there's not a lot of feelings, rather than vote, why don't we just, Pam, if you can just send a letter back to them and tell them in light of everything, and maybe they want to postpone it to another month, something after, but, in the light of everything that's going on in the governor's orders, that, we're not going to approve it for putting it up.
Okay,
Thanks. Thank you.
yep.
I don't think there's any certificates of appropriateness because they didn't meet this month.
Well, we have one from last month just for our security cameras at our office.
Oh, well, yes, okay. Does anyone
Probably
like
should
a
vote on
motion?
that one.
Does anyone want to make a motion to accept the certificate of appropriateness?
I make a motion to accept it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? The acceptance of the annual report. I know you read it last month, Pam, but
Oh, no, that's not on there.
yes, it is acceptance of annual report. So I think we already did that,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah, no, that's,
Okay,
shouldn't be on there, sorry.
okay.
Delete that.
Treasurer's report, Greg?
Yeah, you all have a copy of the report. We'll be making a new report starting tomorrow. I think we're in pretty good shape for the first 2 months. We collected a lot of taxes already in the month of March. The general fund got $109,900. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
No. So we're looking all right, though, in terms of making it, going through.
Yes.
Okay.
But we have 10 months to go, so we have to keep watching.
Right. There is some push up from some of the state representatives to postpone the tax collection, not put a penalty to later in the year. We've sort of expressed the borough's position that would hurt the borough. And so hopefully they will not go ahead and try to enact that. But do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So move.
Second,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, new business. There's an approval of an invoice from Lindsay Equipment for repair of a John Deere truck. Which we had already approved. It just went $3,000 over what we initially thought. So I have a motion to approve the expenditure for the repair of the John Deere.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
On that note, I did send a letter that was requested last month. I sent a letter to the Water Authority request as the council director.
Yeah.
Contribution. I have not heard, so.
They haven't had a meeting. I talked to Tim,
Right.
and so they haven't done it yet.
Okay.
All opposed? Abstaining? Okay, so the bill's approved. Tony, you want to talk about the next one, the escrow agreement with the change for the 203 Sarah Street?
203 West Sarah Street, LLC, yes.
Yeah.
What happened in this case is, a couple months ago, the council approved the subdivision for the Donahue property. The Donahue property has subsequently been sold to 203 West Sarah Street, LLC. All the work has been done with the exception of the removal of the garage. So at settlement, the understanding between the Donahue and new buyers was that the new buyer would deposit $7,400 in escrow, and the borough, and then the former owner would request release of the money from the borough. This is an agreement so that these funds can be placed in escrow until such time as the garage is either removed or a permit is issued. I believe it's the new owner's intention to utilize the garage in the design of the building on the property. Pam, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the letter we received?
That's what the
Okay.
letter from the.
Yeah, that's the letter we received. And so what we're asked, what Pam had pointed out, quite frankly, was that we should have a new escrow agreement with the new owner. And this escrow agreement actually extends the period of time 90 days from settlement. So that's the purpose of this escrow, is just we're replacing the money, but we don't have anything signed by the new owner. So that's what this purpose is for.
So I have a motion to approve the new escrow agreement, which is an extra 90 days from the original ones with the Donahues.
By the way, we already have the money, correct, Pam?
Yes,
Right.
I have a check, which I have not yet deposited.
Okay, thank you.
Signing of the agreement.
So, any questions before we? Do I have a motion to approve it? The extension of the escrow. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. So Pam, if you can write a letter and let them know.
Yep.
That's been done. Thank you. Okay, there were three things with the ambulance service. First of all, long-term, we had a meeting with all the municipalities in the county. We have a proposal that's the year-old proposal from Good Samaritan to provide, and they have a proposal to provide 4 ambulances in the county, 2 basic service, 2 advanced services, 1-year trial, cost at $1.9 million. There is another proposal from some of the ambulance corps have been meeting, and their proposal would be that when an ambulance covers for another township or borough, that borough or township that they're covering for would pay them a set fee for that. So in addition to what they get from insurance, it would be, another, I think the numbers, they haven't determined the number yet, but the amount of money so that they could cover for their cost of doing all of that. And part of that comes from the fact that everyone's having to supplement their volunteers. So those 2 things are being debated. Obviously, the 1.9 million would have to be all of the townships doing something. But on the short term, recently, both the county has determined that certain people who work in the 911 dispatcher office are essential personnel. So they can't provide ambulance service. And some of them were on 2 volunteer ambulance services. We still have only 12 hours a day of ambulance service. The Milford Fire Department Ambulance Corps would like to supplement that with, and we'd like them to, for this period, hire 2 people to work the 12 hours when we don't have coverage. So I'd like to propose that we authorize up to $20,000 from the capital reserve to take care of ambulance services during the current pandemic. We need extra services. They're reaching out and asking Dingman's, which we do a lot of service for in Milford Township, to give money too, so it might be much less. But essentially, it'd be $11,000 a month. If the 2 townships and us did it, it would be enough money that would help. And I think we should do it. We have, this time's not to have ambulance service for 12 hours a day. And both Westfall and Dingman's are going to be more short-handed. So we won't be able to rely on them for those 12 hours as much. So if somebody wants to make a proposal that we authorize doing that, I think it should be done. It's a necessity. We should have the ambulance 24/7.
Yeah, Frank, I'd make a motion that we authorize to spend up to $20,000 from capital reserve to cover for this. I think it was a 2-month period, Frank, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And
I second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. That's really worth doing something.
Frank, can I go ask a question? You mentioned
Sure.
the second point, there was the coverage by other municipalities, that municipalities would have to pay a fee for coverage by a neighboring municipality, in addition to whatever insurance they can recoup.
Besides the insurance, yeah. Yes, that's a proposal. So that therefore the ones that have ambulance service would hire people and they recoup the money it's costing from that. It's,
I mean, how does that work for municipalities that have a nursing home in terms of?
Well, that would really hurt the borough because a lot of the calls in the borough are to, a nursing home. And so, but it's just something that's being proposed by some of the volunteer groups, and it still has to be worked out. They haven't worked out how, and then it becomes a bookkeeping issue,
Right.
But it would hurt us because there are an awful lot of calls that the borough has that both we answer and Westfall answers from the nursing home. So
Correct.
I'm not sure how that would work for us.
I would be opposed to that.
Yeah. Old business. I'm sorry. We have to vote on what happened. Tony, you want to explain what happened?
Sure. I was requested to review two ordinances by Attorney John Schneider that had previously been passed by the borough. And when I reviewed them, it became apparent to me that what happened was a scrivener's error. If you looked at the documents I sent, it appears as though the borough back in 2016 attempted to vacate a portion of Sarah Street and also another portion of
Raspberry Alley.
an unopened Borough Street, Borough Alley. And what happened was, although the notices that for the public hearing were appropriate, the actual ordinances that were adopted and signed by the borough contained incorrect references. The first incorrect references that they contained were incorrect references to section 1731, which says that if you're going to vacate a public street, it can't serve as the sole access to any other property. The second was an incorrect reference to what was being vacated, and that's in ordinance number 444. It really changes the flavor of the ordinance. It describes a portion of what's being vacated as lying between two streets, which it does not lie between. If you look at the notice of public hearing, it clearly says that it's 60 feet in width and it's located between 6th and 7th streets, yet the ordinance itself says that it's located between two other streets. So it's a scrivener's error. It was adopted by the borough. That clearly is not the correct area that was meant to be vacated. And I'm just asking that it be advertised so we can have a public hearing and straighten out a mistake from a couple years back.
So do I have a motion to advertise the amendment of these two ordinances?
I make a motion.
Second,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Negative? Sure. Old business, the first is Luke and myself, we're on a conference call with the traffic study. It was supposed to start up in the spring, and Luke has asked them to postpone it, and it makes sense to next year because traffic will not be the same for the summer or for the fall. So that happened. It's not listed here, but I was notified that the county did approve the $25,000 for our comprehensive plan, and the companies, will go ahead and start doing that. It's actually a good time because it's really going to be a recovery over the next 5 years or so. So that's something good.
Hey, Frank, you were going to talk about the emergency tree removal?
Yes,
Yes,
you had an
yeah.
E on new business, yep.
And the other issue is last year we approved $25,000 to clear up the trees that were dangerous, that were identified as dangerous. The tree company didn't get to a few of them last year. They're asking because they're right now removing trees in Jersey, and they're asking if we would let them remove the trees this week in Pennsylvania. I think we have Paul, Laurie, if you can unmute Paul Labonte. I'm not sure the exact number, but the question is with this staying home in place, would having somebody do an emergency tree removal count as necessary service?
If it's an emergency, yes.
To me, it is. One of the trees has been dropping branches on kids and stuff. Halloween, the kids were getting bombarded, and I see more and more people walking through the town. So if it's a windy day, those trees do fall, the branches fall off of them all the time.
Yeah. And we have more people walking
Than ever. Yep.
than ever.
Yep.
Yeah. So to me, and it's outside, it's not really, the business is not open. They're just doing work. I consider it emergency work, but.
Frank, I believe it's more a question of interpretation of the governor's directive.
Right.
Than a decision for the Borough Council.
Well, but we have to, yeah, I mean, they're asking if they can do it. So in some ways we have to say whether they can do it. Yeah.
And in examining the spreadsheet with all the activities, there's not a precise fit for this.
No, there isn't.
The one that seems closest is forestry, which is, yes, permitted.
Right. That's what I was going to say. They could take down a whole forest and they'd be fine.
Can I ask a question, Frank?
Sure, Tom.
On this tree removal, are any of the trees presently in danger of falling?
Not of falling. The one that presents the greatest hazard is the one on East Hartford.
But there are some
it's more a question of portions of the tree falling, not the entire tree falling.
But you do have.
I can tell you that I had a 1-inch branch strike me when I wasn't wearing a hard hat and required 5 staples. It only fell from a height of about
Paul,
8 feet.
The danger then is overhanging branches to those that may be walking or driving down the street.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is that black walnut in front of Dr. Boyle's office.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's tree work being done for utilities because I was stopped twice going to the office for tree work for utilities. So there is tree work being done.
Yeah. And the forestry is allowed to, take care of forest and do things. It's just, this is not defined per se. But I would consider it, Tony, it's dangerous, the trees, not because the whole tree would fall, but because they do have bigger branches fall down.
And it's also that in addition to forestry being explicitly allowed, landscaping is also allowed. So it didn't specifically say arborist, but between landscaping and forestry being allowed.
I think you're okay.
Yeah,
Sean, I agree with you. I think you're okay.
Okay, so if everyone's okay, I'll just tell them they can go ahead and do it this weekend.
That money.
Do we have to vote on it, do you think, Tony?
That money was previously authorized, or are you authorizing new money?
No, that money was right, Greg? That's part of the 25,000 that we haven't spent yet, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And you have a commitment for a 50-50 price match from both property owners, although not. I don't believe it's in writing.
That's great. So yeah.
I would Frank, indicate that this is emergency work, so you may want to take a vote on that.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve emergency work to remove the trees that
Make a
using
motion.
the funds that we had approved last year?
I make a motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstaining?
Very good.
Committee reports. Let's see. First one, does anyone have it? Adrian, do you have anything for law and zoning?
No. Finance,
Joe, do you have anything?
No, I mean, other than we were going to have a several meeting.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, it's, it's a time when we're working other things. Insurance, Luke, do you have anything?
Not at this time.
Parks, trees, or recreation?
Parks are closed. Parks are closed, and Vinny Catrone from Penn State Extension has also postponed the meeting that was going to be in the beginning of April to be rescheduled at a later date.
Great. Borough property, Pete?
Just that I had the railing fixed on the staircase going up to the police department. And I guess they looked at the furnaces. They have the stuff, the parts ready to go as soon as we can get to them, as soon as the office is open. That's about it.
Great, thanks. Streets and lights, Rob?
Somebody unmuted.
Nope, sorry, nothing to report.
Okay. Technology, communications? Katrina?
I don't have anything for that unless Adrian does.
Human resources, do you have anything?
So every one of our borough employees has gone through the sexual harassment and inclusion training with the exception of 3. But considering all that's going on in the world, we're going to give them some more time to get the course completed. So more on that at another time.
Okay. Grants, I have nothing with grants other than we did get the one grant from the county and the Rural Scenic Fund. Appointments, we have not done anything further with the shade tree and having meetings with them and getting it. This is the time when there's usually fundraising. I'll call Valerie and see what we can do and see if we can get, but I don't know how we do much of anything. I don't even think Arbor Day will take place this year, but it's just, it's a different times.
Frank, on the appointments, we will be having the vacancy on, I don't see it on here, the letter from Mr. Stewart from the Water Authority Board.
I started that last minute, yeah.
So we do have a vacancy there, and
Yeah.
several people in the
Yeah,
community.
I haven't seen that yet, Sean.
It was in your packet, I just added it, it just came in.
Okay. So, yeah, but,
Watch through.
Public Safety Committee update. You want to give a quick update, Sean?
Sure. Public Safety Committee's been meeting frequently, and a lot of it was in the memo that I sent out yesterday, but there's a whole variety of things, checking in with different borough departments on contingency plans and preparedness, the police department, fire department, ambulance, water authority, streets department. We have also been working with a number of volunteers in the community on Joe and Annette on all sorts of social services and human services, sort of finding out what is available and coming up with strategies to communicate that, to provide assistance to people in the community in need. Luke and Adrian are working on similar efforts with the businesses as we know more about like the payroll protection program that we're hoping to get details on later this week, and people can start applying for that.
Sean, I want to stop you. That just came out. It's all out right now. You can get on it and you can apply Friday.
Great. That must have been in the last couple of hours.
It was. It came out at about 4:55. It came out right before the close of business. So it is out and it's public.
And lots of us have been in touch with various business owners as we're looking at this ourselves in terms of the things we need to do around that. Several people have formed the Milford COVID Relief Fund at the Greater Pike Community Foundation, which has already raised several $1,000s, and we'll be doing more fundraising around that. There's the volunteer group that's Bert and Dan McLeod and Xavier, my partner, and Peggy Owens and Karen Bastidas are coordinating about 30 volunteers who've made hundreds of masks and that have gone to various local nursing homes and individuals and other places, healthcare workers. The Colmar donated 10 gallons of hand sanitizer, which we put in bottles and made available to the police department, the fire department, the borough office. Pam, I didn't tell you this, but we left a bunch of bottles in the mailbox. So I don't know if they're all still at the police department, but that was also for the borough office or the streets crew. Because I understand there wasn't any sanitizer in the garage.
We haven't received any yet. I don't know if Pam, if you got any.
No, I'll check the mailbox tomorrow morning when I go in there. I didn't see it.
Oh, I'll bet they're being hoarded by the police department, chief.
Yeah, chief.
No, I just didn't get a chance to drop them off to you guys yet. I didn't see you yet personally.
I just promised a few to the road crew.
No, I already told Dwayne that I was going to throw them in their bathroom in there.
Okay. And we actually have some more of those bottles as well. So for, any other agencies in need, we have those. Very appreciative to Colmar and to Bernadette Schilling, who's a borough resident, who helped make that happen. There are just lots of different kinds of things going on. So we just encourage anybody who's interested in getting involved and helping to, send me a note or reach out, and we'll kind of get you connected with some of with the good place for it. That's all we've got right now. I don't have a report on citations and so on because we've cut way back on that. The police are only having necessary interactions with the public. Although we have had additional coverage, partly dealing with the influx. We're getting a lot of sort of like summer level of people in the county as many people are coming into their weekend and seasonal homes. We've also had conversations with a number of business owners helping to clarify who can be open and who can't be open. The chief and I have both been in touch with state officials several times for clarification around a number of issues with that. And fortunately, the business owners are being really cooperative. Some of it's been a little tough to understand, but we've been working through that. And I don't know if the chief has anything to add, but that's been going pretty well.
Matt, do you have anything to add?
No, I just really want to thank you guys for standing behind us. And I said, we got everybody's back as far as we can keep going. I mean, we're not going to give up, so.
Okay, before we go into public comments, I'd like to thank a bunch of it. First, I think the council would like to thank the residents. I mean, people are really practicing all the, everything that FEMA and the CDC and the state has said. People are really, for the most part, it's amazing how well people are doing. So I think the borough, we want to thank them. We also want to thank the businesses the same way. And I think we have to thank the police who are doing, I've had people, Matt, tell me how they appreciate the police making an extra effort in going out there during these times. And I think the borough should thank the EMTs and the fire department. They're all volunteers, and they have been, they're putting their life at risk more so now with the pandemic because they're dealing with people. And our own fire department, they had a meeting and all the people are in and they're working, and it's, we're really grateful. We're lucky to have them. And I want to thank the Public Safety Committee. They really have done a lot to help the borough. And I think Sean's putting information out to the people and pushing it out to those groups has really helped people. And I want to thank the county, the county commissioners, and especially the emergency services and dispatchers. They've really been working to take care of things. Last of all, I want to thank the council itself for really stepping up during this time. It's kind of a crazy time, and people have really responded well, and we should thank everyone. So Laurie, now if somebody wants to have make a comment, they can send chat to Laurie and tell her what they want to do, and Laurie can unmute them. And I remind everyone, it's 3 minutes, and we'd ask everyone, one comment and let other people say something if they want. So Laurie, are you okay with that?
Yep, I'm ready to go if anybody has something they'd like to say.
You actually have to send it to it says Pamela Alstrom. So.
Yep.
That's true. Laurie's Pamela.
There are two things. They don't have to send it to somebody. If you click on the button that says participants, there'll be a thing that pops up that says raise hand. And if anybody on the call clicks on raise hand, then we can unmute you and call on you.
Yeah, what I was hoping for, Sean, though, is if 3 people had comments on one topic, we could get all of them at the same time. That's why.
Okay. Or they can send a message in the chat box like Fred just did, and questions be answered there. Do you see Fred's question?
Yep, I see it here. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yes, thank
So
you.
the answer is yes, we will not do it. In January, Rachel came and the agreement with the township was we would continue to do our own, but that we will cooperate with the plan, with their plan, and incorporate as an update to ours anything that was mutually beneficial to both of us. So the answer is no, formally we're going ahead with our own. We started that last year. Anybody else with a question? And Deb Stevens said to everyone, thank you all, which is very nice. Thanks, Deb. Anybody else? So there was no other questions, so I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Right.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Laura, you're going to close the meeting?
I'm gonna close it out.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Good night.